Hey y'all, it's me, Barb, hardly here with a video about something that I had become way too obsessed with, much to my husband's chagrin. I'm talking about G.I. Joe. Now I know what you're thinking. Barb, if you're going to do a video about G.I. Joe, why aren't you dressed up like the Baroness, or Zerana, or Lady J, CoverGirl, or Scarlet? And I have named all 5... women in G.I. Joe. Barb hardly does not do cosplay, but I will tell you something. I am dressed up like Barb Hartley's G.I. Joe identity. I am Showgirl, one of the many gay soldiers who did drag for Uncle Sam in World War II as part of the This Is the Army tour and show. That happened. Anyway, something came over me about the time that I turned 40 this summer. I dove headfirst back into an obsession with General Issue Josephs. Now, like every other boy that was born in the 80s, of course I was obsessed with them. There aren't many 40-year-old men that would get up like this just to talk about their little tiny action figures they've been buying on eBay. But this is the kind of content that Barb hardly guarantees. With just a subscribe, click the button. I grew up watching the Sunbow cartoon and then the Deke cartoon, but because I was born in 1984, that means that by the time I started buying G.I. Joe by the time my mama started buying G.I. Joe figures, it was like 1987 and all the figures were discontinued and I never had a lot of them. And the ones I did have were the 90s versions. So my Flint was neon green and my Zartan had an orange mohawk, and my COBRA commander had a red faceplate for some reason. So I never had the figures that I wanted. But now I am a 40-year-old man, and clearly I can do whatever I want, and I can make very gaudy and expensive and impractical choices, and I just gotta commit to it and go with it because it makes me happy. So I've been buying a whole lot of G.I. Joes. I just want to say something right here up top. G.I. Joe is gay. It is camp. It is ridiculous. It is silly. Cobra Commander is a gay icon. He is basically if Paul Lynde was a little less venomous. All of the bad guys are wearing leather fetish gear. There are mustaches everywhere. Y'all watch that cartoon and tell me that it is not ridiculous. There's an episode all about the Viper is coming, and the G.I. Joes think that it is a Viper, as in a Cobra agent, when actually it is a Vendo Viper with an accent. That's camp. There's an episode where Cobra's running out of money, so they turn the Dreadnoks into a heavy metal band and chart a single, all to get more dough to fund their terrorism. Cold Slither. There's another episode where Cobra does a telethon in order to raise money to destroy Interpol. There's an episode where, I haven't gotten to it yet in my rewatch, but I know there's an episode where a G.I. Joe turns into a whale.
I'll bet that Cobra Flyboy thought you were cute.
Shut up and try it.
You know, Ambush, you were right.
Ha! After today, General, I never call you old. Tough, maybe, but never old. Huh? What?
It is just, let me just say, the appeal is broad. So anyway, in order to start buying my G.I. Joes, I made a spreadsheet figuring out which ones were the most essential to those cartoons, and then I made a list of like 90 of them, and I have been buying them, and I'm now about 34 deep. And it all started with these two. The first one being Lady J. Turn off the green screen so you can actually see her. Honestly, looking kind of blown out with with all the ring lights on her. I never understood why she had a baseball cap on this but didn't on the show. I mean, honestly, she looks fiercer without the baseball cap, but you know what, I'll take it. I never had a Lady J growing up, because girl action figures, boys didn't want to play with those. Even if the characters were literally in every single episode. Lady J appears in, like, the most episodes of any G.I. Joe. But anyway. And then I also bought Alpine. Love Alpine. He is a funny little wisecracker, and he likes climbing mountains, which is a thing that I will never do. So I live vicariously through this little stand-up comedian turned patriotic freedom fighter. Now, I did institute a 1 in, 1 out. No, that ain't right, but I mean, basically I'm trying to keep my number of Joes and Cobras the same, keep it split, so I did then buy 2 Cobra figures. I went to a show called, like, Welcome Back Collectibles or something in West Virginia, or Virginia. Anyway, it's a very great store. It has a whole lot of Joes there, and I bought Firefly there. Now, the Firefly that I had as a little boy was neon green, and he wore a gray baseball cap. So, I like this one. Now, if you want to come at me and tell me there's no gay appeal to G.I. Joe, Exhibit A, Dr. Mindbender. What is going on with this figure? Why does he look like Rob Halford went to a fetish party? The mustache, the metal suspenders chafing up against his bare shaven chest, the codpiece. There's a lot of codpiece action going on in Cobra. Tomax, Zaymont, Copperhead, Scrap Iron. It's crazy. The cloak. The flair for the dramatic. He's an old queen. Now, I'm not going to show you every single one I bought because, honestly, I don't want to edit a video that is that long. But I will show some key figures from my burgeoning collection, including Snow Job, which is, I mean, I don't know, like, there are plenty of puns to be made with Snow Job, but let's keep it pumping. And now, there's another theme with my G.I. Joe collection, and that is G.I. Joes that made me gay. There is one shot of Snow Job from G.I. Joe the movie that is, I mean, it didn't make me gay, but it did stick with me. It's very... I'll show it here, why not?
Gotcha now, you slippery creep!
I mean, it's a little like, right, it's like a little bit, I don't know. It's weird the things you remember when you become a gay adult after being a gay child. Not dial tone. Okay, I think he's fine. That kind of came off. Dial Tone, another one that I had a crush on. Just because he seems like a nice guy. In the G.I. Joe movie when he's like, oh, you can feel the little circuits dancing underneath your fingertips. I mean, that's a sensitive thing to say, and I was drawn to that. Also, you gotta love the mustache. I love a mustache. It's really scary how he fell. Now, all of the Dreadnoks are wearing, like, I mean, shirts are optional if you're a Dreadnok. It is no shoes, no shirt, just right. I mean, honestly, name another franchise where there are this many adult men wearing belly shirts. Gay. But, I mean, of all the Dreadnoks, I found myself most drawn to Monkey Wrench. Maybe it's because that name sounds like a promise that I hope he can keep. I don't know what I mean by that. But he seems like the sensitive Dreadnok, what with his glasses and his, like, middle part hair. He's kind of like your friend's older brother who's like the dungeon master, and you want to impress him and stuff, and then when you become an adult, you're like, oh yeah, I totally had a crush on him. That's kind of who Monkey Wrench is. I don't know. These aren't the kind of experiences that you normally associate with G.I. Joe, but they're valid. Okay, well, we're going off microphone for this because I got a two-hander. I always wanted these figures and never had them, and now I do. They are Globulus and Nemesis Enforcer. Oh my god, look at these little guys. They're so weird. And yes, I did find a seller on Etsy that makes 3D printed stands for Globulus, so that's how specific I've gotten. And yep, also makes wings for Nemesis Enforcer, and I might buy them. I don't know. Now this is where I have a bone to pick with the gender norms that I grew up with as a boy who loved G.I. Joe and wanted to have action figures. Where's the Pythona action figure? I know that she's a girl. I know that she's like pink and purple. She's the most vicious badass of any G.I. Joe character. Y'all watch the opening of the G.I. Joe movie where she cuts through 6-inch long, like, titanium doors with just her fingernails. And she just wrecks every single person that is standing between her and Serpentor. She is the OG. And the fact that we've never had an action figure of her is frustrating. I did find a 3D printed fan-made version of Pythona, so I bought that. We'll see how that goes. Another big purchase. And this, it took a while, but I finally got him. A Cobra Commander. An actual Cobra Commander, a real Cobra Commander, not the weird knockoff versions that I had as a kid. Now, I do want the chrome-plated face Cobra Commander, but I am, again, not gonna pay $100 for a figure. But I got this little guy, and I love him. Because Cobra Commander is one of the greatest characters in all of fiction, let's just be honest here. I am very particular about how I store my action figures and comic books, and I have done videos about both of those, so just dig into the archives. So, of course, I decided to do this. I decided to start making custom art for all of these little things, so every single G.I. Joe I have has a corresponding little box like this that has their original 80s packaging art right there in the back. But then I affix it with some like clear packing tape so that it is still see-through. It has a little bit of shine to it and it ain't going nowhere. And on the other side, it has some nice just G.I. Joe art that I do believe is from 3djoes.com. And then their name, Roadblock. So I've done this with all of them. So I don't know, I mean, that's enough, right? That's enough. You're going to see a lot more G.I. Joe content from me because I'm not going to stop this. This is a form of weird therapy that I'm doing right now as I deal with the world being frustrating. If you like this kind of content, please do subscribe and let me know. And if you don't, I don't care. Don't tell me. Please follow me on Instagram at Barb Harley. Remember to subscribe to this here YouTube channel. Until next time, am I a woman? Hardly. Oh boy. What a mess I've made. What a mess I've made.